We have a super special guest for you today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nikki Bafke. I'm one of the department chairs in the Full Sail Undergraduate Business Program, and it's really, really nice to see all your beautiful faces. I love Full Sail students. I say that every time I'm in a room with Full Sail students. We're going to talk to you about a young company called Motion Sphere. The Motion Sphere itself provides a unique, completely immersive, in-person simulation experience. You actually climb inside this machine. It's unlike anything else in the world right now, and the Motion Sphere company developed and owns the technology. They have offices in North America, South America, Europe, and they're working on entering the Middle East. One of the founders is here with us today, so please allow me to introduce him. Beto Facci discovered his passion for technology at a young age and became fascinated by the extent to which technology affects our lives. And he went to school and was inspired to pursue and earn 4 degrees in internet technology, in market and product development, in business management, and in product management. He has long professional experience working in executive positions with some of the largest Brazilian and multinational technology companies, and has been involved with startups too, based in both Sao Paulo and San Francisco, and he helped to grow them to the buyout phase. Now, as CEO and founder of Motion Sphere, he has ushered the company from its foundations in 2014 as a classic startup to a worldwide tech company in 9 short years, with clients such as Disney, Volkswagen, Formula One, Xbox, and many, many more. Everyone, please welcome Mr. Beto Facci. Thank you for being here today.
Oh, my pleasure.
So happy to see you.
Good to see you again.
Full disclosure, Beto and I have known each other for a good 6 or 7 years now. He's worked with Full Sail for a very long time. So let's just start with Motion Sphere. Tell us about the origins of the company and what makes it unique.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Thanks for being here, guys. It's a pleasure to meet so many young people and looking forward to pursuing a career inside of such amazing markets that you're working on. This is very interesting.
So, for Motion Sphere, this is a company that you founded. It was an academic commercial relationship, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about what makes this technology unique.
Okay, perfect. So, that's why we used to say this is a classic startup. It's a little bit different from what we know from a classic startup. This has not started inside of a garage, but in the laundry room. That's exactly where the prototype of this crazy technology was when I first met my business partner, which is Jefferson Masudi. So this guy was already an electrical engineer. He was a technical director for an Italian company in Brazil, specialized in mechanical design, and he was passionate by driving, by e-races. So he tried to develop something for him, for his own pleasure, how he could have better experience by a driving simulator. So he tried a lot of different solutions that there was in the market at that time. And then he just realized none of them was either good enough in terms of providing G-forces, sensation, acceleration sensations, but also, on the other hand, you have such super expensive solutions like millions and millions of dollars just for one unit. So he understood that there's got to be something in between. We could give powerful G-forces and acceleration sensations, but it could be affordable for people to have either in their family entertainment centers, parks, but also at home. So he tried to develop some different solution for that, and he figured out there was some knowledge that he needs to get before put the idea in the real world. So he went back to school. He was 30 at that time. 30 years old. He went back to school to take computer engineering to complete the knowledge that he needed at that time to bring the idea to the real world. So the first thing when he just arrived at the university is trying to talk to the professors. Can you help me with this project? So when he explained for the first professor, he told him, you're never gonna make this. The second one just laughed at him. The third one, you're not gonna make it. That's impossible. So I thought it was the seventh professor he spoke with. He told him, so maybe this is something that you could do. Well, let's try to work together on that.
He was lucky that the seventh one hit.
Yeah,
You also be
absolutely.
prepared for that, by the way.
That's a good number.
Be persistent.
Absolutely. And after almost 5 years, he was at the moment to present his job at the end of the course. And he not only brought the projects, the blueprints, the renderings, but he took the prototype, the fully functional prototype inside of the classroom and took all the professors inside of the motion sphere for a ride.
Mm-hmm.
So it was shocking for most of them. No one none of them was believing that he was able to do that, but he made it. So it was pretty impressive. He brought not only a great product, but a cutting edge, innovative, and one of a kind technology to the simulation industry. So which the technology right now is competing to the most sophisticated technologies in simulation in the world. But this is a patent technology.
Weren't you telling me that the technology that exists now for simulators for, massive multinational automobile companies like Toyota or NASA, the Space Administration, and the simulator they have for landing the space shuttle, those are multi-million-dollar machines on hydraulics, right? So how is this different? It's much cheaper to manufacture. Not that it's cheap, it's just much more efficient to manufacture and much more global. It can go all over the world once it's been manufactured because it's only about 11 feet high, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So what exactly is the cool technology that's patented that makes this so special and unlike any other immersive experience that you've got right now?
If you want to go to this picture, I'm
going
to show you exactly what I saw when I first met Jefferson. And you're gonna see his laundry room.
Okay.
His wife was not so happy with him because the laundry was so packed with the prototype. But that's the motion sphere. As you can see over there, it's a huge sphere. That's why it's called motion sphere. The sphere with all the motion involved. So we have two spheres, one inside of the other. Each one is rolling different axes. And the combination, the interpolation of those two movements, together with the visual, together with the sound, together with the motion sensations that we can generate inside of that, can create up to 7 Gs in terms of G forces, and can deliver any kind of real movement, which we have in the 3D real world inside of the crazy thing. So when you see some different technologies, you can see the a static simulator. You can go to Dave & Buster, does a lot of car simulators, motorcycle simulators, which is cool just for kids or if you just want to have fun very quickly. But you just can feel the experience that you're trying. On the other hand, you have multi-million dollars, like $15 million Airbus simulator, which is nice, which is so close to the real thing, but it costs us $15 million. Not able to have some kind of technology in anywhere other than Airbus training centers. So this is something in between. It's going to cost $150,000 to $200,000 a pop, and you can deliver sensations super close to those $15 million simulators. And we can do something that they even can't do. There's some features that we can do that those $15 million simulators just can't.
So what's coming up next on the slideshow? Are there some pictures of people in it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Let's see it.
All right, you want to do that?
So
Oh, like that one up in the top, in the corner, what is that? Is that Yamaha, Kawasaki?
That's Yamaha. It's a
Yamaha, okay.
motorcycle simulator.
Okay, so what do we have going on? We've got the software.
Yes,
Okay.
we have the motorcycle software running.
See.
So you're controlling the game through the motorcycle, but you're leaning the motorcycle, you're accelerating, you're braking it, and everything is moving. And you can feel the G-force pushing in the right directions, like you're inside of the real experience.
And then there's a projector in there, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's a 200-inch curved screen in front of them. It covers basically all your field of view. You're 100% immersive. The motorcycle is alive because the wheels are spinning exactly the same speed that they would be spinning if you were racing 200 miles an hour. There are vents. You're supposed to have vents when you ride a bike. So there are some vents that can blow wind in your face with variable speed, depends on how fast you're in the track. So everything connected, so it brings people into the experience in a way even most of the multi-million-dollar simulators just can't do.
So how many of the 5 senses are engaged inside the motion sphere?
All of them.
All
I
of
can
them?
tell you. It depends on the experience. So we have the G-force and the acceleration sensations. So you feel the motion, that's our slogan. So motion sphere is the equipment that makes you feel the motion.
Very good.
And then you have the visual, which is super important. I would say that is almost half of the entire experience is based on the visual part. So it's something that is very important. Most of you that are working with films, work with video, producing 3D arts, and design. So this is really, really important for the simulation experience. So you have audio, you have the sound, which is super intense inside of that. So can you imagine 11 feet high sphere, you're enclosed into it, so you don't have any external reference since you are covered with the screen. And you have the wind in your face and some experience to bring some smells into it. So we can add any sensation inside of the experience, depends on what we're developing.
Very cool. I didn't know about the smells. That's cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Add that too?
We did that for Volkswagen.
Well, you need some motorcycle then. So, you're an international company. So, if one of our students were just traveling someplace, where might they find one of these machines in place?
Okay, perfect. So, I think in a couple of months. So, if you go to Chicago, so on the Chicago River Walk, under the Trump Tower, there's going to be a brand new entertainment center called We See Chicago. That's the company that's going to be building the experience. So we're going to have 2 spheres over there. It's going to be a flyover Chicago. So they're going to record with drones, a crazy, extreme fly over Chicago to take a look at the main sites in Chicago, buildings and places, and we're gonna bring that experience into the sphere. So we're gonna sit down, relax, and we'll be flying from exactly the point where the sphere is gonna be physically speaking, and we take off from there and go around Chicago and come back.
Do you know what would be really cool if you lace people into a hang glider?
Yeah, absolutely.
I actually have a question too. So, when you're selling these to other companies, do they have to make their own software, or do you come with your own software?
That's a great question. Well, it depends on the project. So sometimes we develop the software, sometimes we use third-party software, sometimes we use third-party companies to work with us to develop the experience. So that's why we're so excited to be connected to Full Sail, because we know there are a lot of great people over here working exactly to develop this kind of experience that we use inside of the spheres. Sometimes it's project based, so sometimes you need to find the right person, the right company to develop the software the customer is asking for that specific project. So that's why this partnership is so important for us, and that's why we love so much to be close to the academic people.
So in the future, would it be possible for a team of Full Sail students to be working on the filming, the coding, the music accompaniment, and everything that goes into a specific motion sphere experience?
Absolutely.
Cool.
So we have so many spheres around the world. So we have spheres in Europe, we have spheres in a theme park called which is an Italian theme park. They have a Ducati area inside of that. We have two motorcycle simulators over there. We have parks in Brazil, we have parks in Mexico. So this is something that we can also have some people develop an experience for the simulators that we have already in place. We can sell content for them. So this is something that is very interesting about motion spheres. So this is not a car simulator, this is not a motorcycle simulator, this is a motion platform that can deliver simulation experiences. You can change the interior, you can change the experience, and the motorcycle simulator can turn into a Star Wars simulator, or a wingsuit simulator, which is the one that we're going to be that we're developing and going to be delivering for a Belgian park next month. So this is the kind of thing that is very interesting about motion sphere. The customers buy an equipment that can deliver any kind of experience, that can exchange that experience on time.
So we're here to talk about international business, and you have a perfect example.
Yes.
Start by telling us, what is the one thing that surprised you most about taking your company global from Brazil to the whole world?
That's something that is really interesting, because we never spend tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars in marketing. We have been doing business in Brazil, Mexico, Argentina, United States, Canada, Germany, Spain, Portugal, Qatar, Belgium. So that's pretty funny. This is something that is, I think the world is so connected. There are no boundaries. There are no walls that can prevent us to go with our products. If there's a product that people need somewhere in the world, this is so interesting. And it's just a word of mouth most of the time. So we're delivering a wingsuit simulator for a brand new park, which is the largest esports park in Europe. They're starting with the first park in Hasselt in Belgium, and they're going to be spreading all over Europe. So they came to us because they saw us on an event in Germany, in Cologne, Germany, which was a partnership with Microsoft. So they got in touch with the technology, which at that time was the Forza Horizon. For those that know, the Forza Horizon, the driving simulator from Microsoft. So they saw that experience, and they came to us and say, "Hey, we'd love to bring a brand new experience to our parks." We've been discussing about the kind of experience that we're trying to bring in. And the goal was to deliver some simulation experience that could make the person do some kind of exercise. It's not like a passive simulation experience. They need to do something. They need to sweat in order to try the experience. So that's the park concept, and we're gonna be delivering a wingsuit simulator for that park. So imagine you inside of a huge sphere, and you're gonna be starting the experience from the sky or from the edge of a huge mountain, and you're gonna be going down. So I'm be hanging you, and you're gonna be controlling the whole experience just by your gestures. We're using the Kinect technology to control that. So this is something that is very interesting.
I can see the tagline right now: all of the fun, none of the danger.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's good. So the most interesting thing is right now, today. So if you have an interesting technology or product, you can go all around the world with just some Instagram, some Twitter, some phone connections, some Zoom calls, and yes, you can spread your product all over the world. Doesn't matter where you're from, like us from Brazil, from the US, from Mexico, from Europe, from Latin America. Yes, you can spread your wings throughout the world if you have something that is interesting for the customer.
So the lesson I'm hearing here is that technology makes it easier to take your startup global.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
We
Excellent.
would have made the same success like 20 years ago, 10 years ago maybe. So today is so easy. People just find us through the internet or YouTube channel. They're just searching for simulators. At some point in time, they just get in touch with our website or YouTube channel, Instagram. So it's pretty interesting how fast the technology can spread worldwide. It doesn't matter where you're from.
So have you found that your growth has been more responsive to the people who hit you up for more information, or has it been more deliberate from the inside out, where MotionSphere took the initiative to decide in which markets you were going to get started?
Mm-hmm.
So it's more of a push or more of a pull for you?
Well, this is something that is very interesting as well, because what we have been developing since we started the company is not something that you can find research on the internet. So how many units of offline simulators the most important companies of the world are selling or sold last year? There is not a statistic. There is not a specific there are not specific research on that, so you just can't find the numbers like you're selling nails or selling Coke. Yeah. So that is not just as mathematical as it could be. So it's not just about taking advantage of some pre-existing market, but you need to develop this market. I can tell you that right now, 50% of our revenue comes from events, exhibition, marketing activations where we lease the equipment for big companies. I'll give you the example of the Volkswagen example. They came to us and say, hey, this is amazing. This is a great technology. We're going to be participating in an auto show in Brazil. I'd love to take people to try the experience with some content related to Volkswagen. And we start talking about what kind of experience we could deliver to the guests. And they told us, well, it would be great to take people to drive our cars instead of your simulator. But there's something different that we can do. And they told us they would be launching a brand new engine, and we decided to create a virtual roller coaster inside of the engine while it is working, and we had to develop a brand new experience for them. So the idea was we have a big sphere with 4 seats inside of them. Each one was using an Oculus Rift. You're inside of a lab, and the robot start talking to you and shrunk you, inject you inside of the engine. So you can see the engine from inside while you're in a virtual roller coaster, and you can feel the wind in your face. You can feel the G-forces while you're moving. You can feel the cold when you're inside of the turbo intercharger, and you go inside of the engine. You see the explosion, and you feel the heat in your skin, and you exit from it. So, and people don't even realize what's going on because you're using goggles. So just got inside of this big sphere, put the goggles on, and have this amazing experience. They say, man, how did you do that?
In terms of like, but when you were first starting the business, I'm sure it wasn't easy to start something with an entire sphere. You had all that technology. How did you get funding for starting it up?
Ooh, money
Yeah,
question.
so that is something that is very interesting as well. So The first time I was working in another startup company. In fact, Motion Studio is my third startup since I left the corporate business world and went into this crazy startup world. So the first time I was still working in an executive position in a company in Brazil when I decided to invest in my first startup. And the experience was so great, so interesting. And 1 year after that, we sold the technology to a marketing company in Brazil. And I thought, man, this is interesting. You invest some money, you work a little bit, you promote the company, and we develop the product, and we sell the company. So that's something that I like to do it again. So I started working on another project, and that one was so interesting that I decided not just to be an investor or a consultant, but also to start to quit my corporate job to be full-time into the company. And 1.5 years after that, we sold the company to Santander Bank. I said, man, this is where I want to be for the rest of my life. So, as I tell you, is my that's exactly to be together with people that are innovative, that are full of energy, that want to change the establishment. So that's where I get my energy to keep moving. So I decided to focus on that. Then I started to work for a company, a startup company from San Francisco called Endless Mobile. And I was in a meeting in Brazil. There was no relation with Motion Sphere. And before we were about to start a meeting, and the guy right next to me before the meeting started was watching a video on YouTube. And a big sphere rolled, and I said, man, what's that? Oh, this is a brand new simulation technology, and it can deliver G-force and Cs. Man, this is incredible. Oh man, absolutely, this guy is gonna be rich. I thought it was an American guy, I thought it was a European guy, and then the person right beside me just said, this is a Brazilian guy, he's a friend of mine, he's an engineer, this is his college project. No way, I need to meet this guy. That's when I went to his laundry room. When I first met Jefferson, he told me, and we have this recorded. He told me it was not. He built that not intended to make money. It was just to have fun. And other making money, I kept telling him, so you're not supposed to take any money from the company. That was would be just about for fun.
So what I'm hearing is that you did not have to go through rounds of venture capital fundraising. You just kind of built a company, sold it, and grew the profits so that you could kind of fund the next one yourself.
Yeah, but the point is, when we put all the pieces together, and based on that prototype, we created a product. The product we created a business model, and we have all the valuation estimated of what kind of potential business that product could generate. And we start talking to friends, to very good friends of ours. So the first guy that I spoke with, he told me, wow, this is incredible. I'd love to be part of that, but I'm on a trip to the US, so I'm gonna be back in like a month, then you're gonna talk about that. I told him, okay, no problem, but I'm gonna keep talking to other people. And we just have 20% of the company to raise money right now. I talked to the second person, and the second person, well, that's amazing, I'm in. And he got all the 20%.
So the first guy didn't get anything.
So when that guy came back and said, hey, let's talk about the business. I'm sorry, I got the money already. No way, I need to be part of that. Please, just allow me to have at least a piece of that. And the other partners, other business partners just decided to, okay, let's open up just a little bit of equity for this guy. But like 30 days after our first conversation, I presented him a certain amount of money for the valuation. And the valuation that he invested 30 days after that, it was twice the valuation. I started talking to him the first time.
Wow.
So this is pretty impressive, but when you're talking about the first round of investment, like an angel investor, this is not as complicated as people think it is. It's pretty much to find the right person and tell the right story. So when you're creating something new, the story behind this product, the service, or whatever you sell it, is as important as the quality of the service. Because when you look the motions here, the way the investors saw, which was the previous slide, if you want to just go back one slide.
Maybe not.
The previous one.
This one right here?
So
Okay.
that's what he saw. Okay? And the next slide is what we developed. But this was already the story that we told them. We told them, this is where we're gonna be. You're not buying that ugly prototype simulator. So you're buying what we're gonna do in the future. Of course, you're not gonna raise millions and millions of dollars when you're talking with angel investors, but that small amount of money that we raised at the beginning was so much important for us to do anything that we did after that. And after that, we have some other investors coming in, but I can tell you the first round of investment was the most important step that we took at the beginning.
So let's keep talking about finance for just a minute, and then we'll come back to your question. I want to know, as you grow and as you keep expanding across continents, if you feel that there will be a day at which you'll have to go with a venture capital fund or something that's much bigger right before the buyout or right before the public offering.
Mm-hmm.
Will you get that big?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we start growing that business. In a way, it was complicated for us to handle because we're talking about tens of simulators that we have built so far. But let's talk about this Belgian project, for example. So they're talking about having 50 parks all around Europe. Let's say you have, they told us we could have like 4 spheres per park. Let's say you have 2 spheres per park. To manufacture that kind of unit, so we need to put some money up front. So that's when we're going to be looking for some partners to help us go through that. It's not just about how much money you're going to make, but you need to be sure that you're able to deliver this kind of purchase order. So that's the big challenge.
Okay, so now we're at 8. We had a question up front, and then we'll come back to it. Brian, please go ahead.
I almost forgot.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I came in late. You may have already said this. So, what's your passion, or why are you passionate about simulators?
Mm-hmm. Well, in fact, my biggest passion is technology, but not the technology itself, but how it can improve people's lives. So, every single company that I've been working in the past, either in my corporate jobs or the startups that we work with, there's some way, in some ways, the technology would help people's lives, improve people's lives. So the first company was that I invested into. So the first one was developing an interface with some sort of AI that is so fashion about AI today. But the thing is, it was for call centers. Every time that you type every time you type an answer for a question, so it's going to be start learning about that. And before, when you get the questions, you're going to have some suggestions in terms of answers, so you can speed up any call center operation. So the second one was a company in Brazil called GoPay, which was the Square company, the mobile transactions, credit card transactions. At that time in Brazil was a brand new concept. So we started this company, we sold to Santander Bank. The third company, the Endless Mobile, they developed an operation system and computers for the poorest people in countries in the world, like Class D. So it was intended to sell this in Brazil, in India, Bangladesh, to help people to get access to technology, people that in general just can't afford a computer or a tablet, for example. So there was something that was very interesting. We went to the poorest communities in Brazil, taking the technology and helping people to access the contents and helping them improve their grades in school just by adding the technology. There was no super expensive brand, but there was a technology that could allow this company to be profitable and still spread the technology to almost 1 billion people in the situation around the world.
I was wondering, since you're international, are you manufacturing parts for the machine in one single location and shipping it out to your clients, or are you sourcing it in different factories around the world? Because out of the map, you said it weighs what, 2 tons?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's probably pretty pricey to mail all the parts for that, huh?
That's for sure. Well, it depends on the project. We start by manufacturing those equipment, those pieces of equipment in Brazil. But then we realized that it wouldn't be enough to cover the entire world, which was our goal. So right now we do have manufacturing partner here in the US, here in Orlando, in Brazil, which is our manufacturing facility, and in Italy. It depends on the customer, it depends on the technology. We decide to manufacture in one or another site.
So you've got 3,
3.
1 on each continent.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow, okay, well, there's your answer. Thank you.
But even though sometimes we need this wingsuit simulator is a brand new experience that has never been developed before by us. So I needed my CTO to be 100% on top of this project. So we're manufacturing this in Brazil. He just sent me a couple of videos of the experience, and today they'll be disassembling the equipment. They're gonna be packing it, and it's gonna be shipped to Belgium by airplane. So it's gonna cost a lot of money, but it's gonna be 100% disassembled before shipping.
How exactly do all these simulators help people? Is my question.
So it was for the first time it was intended for entertainment only. So we lease those machines for marketing activations, for big exhibitions or live events. So the companies just bring the guests into the motion sphere to try some experience related with their content. So the idea is to put the company's concepts inside the guests' minds by taking them into a simulation experience. And then we start selling those machines for theme parks, for family entertainment centers that want to take people inside of the spheres just to have fun, of course, make money. And now we're aiming to a brand new market, which is the professional simulation market, especially for military. So you can imagine somebody learning how to fly a jet, feeling the G-forces, but not in combat. So you're gonna be learning everything inside of the simulator, which is not gonna cost $15 million, and the simulator is gonna be sit in California. So everybody that needs to try this, let's give an example that we're talking with a customer. So Emirates, is having a hard time to train all the pilots in the simulators because they have a couple of simulator centers around the world, and they need to take all the pilots into those centers to train like for 2 hours, 4 hours, and take them back.
So that's about fun and like real life stuff. Okay.
They're thinking about having in every single airport that they have operations, one motion sphere, 1 or 2 motion spheres. They could cost like hundreds of thousands of dollars. And every time that a pilot is there for any reason, they can spend just a couple of hours inside of the simulator and keep going with their airplane. So that's a way we can use technology to improve people's lives.
Question in the back.
So I don't know if this is accurate or not, but I looked up Motion Sphere on LinkedIn. And apparently you run a very light operation because it just shows 8 employees. I don't know if that's accurate or if they're just not on LinkedIn connected to you, but is it really that light?
Like, you
Like,
mean like?
not a lot of people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So let's go back to 2019. By the end of 2019, we're like almost 40 people work on the company.
Oh, okay.
And we were developing like 15 simulators at the same time. It was crazy, busy times. We were going to deliver the simulators early in 2020. Before we get there, we tell ourselves, so there are a lot of new customers coming in and there are a lot of potential purchase orders for tens or maybe hundreds of equipment. So definitely we're not gonna be able to deal with all of that just by increasing the size of our company. So we need to outsource some things that are not our main business because we're most a design company which are developing, creating, designing new simulation experiences. We're not a manufacturing company. We didn't want to be, but we were forced to be at a time. By the end of 2019, we decided to downsize the company. It went from almost 40 people to 12 people by the end of 2019.
So am I understanding that you made the decision to outsource most of your
Most of the manufacturing
before
process.
COVID did?
Before COVID.
Oh my gosh.
We knew COVID was coming. No, I'm just joking. But that was the smartest decision we could have at that time. And when COVID just hit us in March, so 3 years ago, the company had like 10 people. So it was the reason why we could survive the COVID outbreak. So otherwise it would be very bad, in a very bad situation, because imagine trying to keep up the business, which was at that time 80% based on events, which just gone, and entertainment, which was gone as well. So we spent like 1 year basically with no revenue in 2020. And they start coming back early 2021, and we survived through the outbreak because of a smart decision, a strategic decision that we made before COVID, not knowing the COVID was coming. But it was great that we had that kind of decision on time.
Wow, great foresight. If you ever go public, I'm buying your stock. Oh, we have 2 questions. I'm gonna go over here and then I'm gonna come back. Go ahead, please.
So, I've heard you mention like there's different experiences that the simulators offer. So like my question is, based on the experience, is it like is each simulator experience dependent, or can you just quickly change the experience that the Sphere offers? Because like if you're doing a motorcycle ride, but then the next person wants to do a wingsuit experience, but the next person wants to drive a race car, like those are 3 completely different harnesses and like seating arrangements. So how do you how do you switch that, or B, do you just need a whole nother sphere?
Okay, so it's not as fast as quick as this, of course, but let's say if you're talking about cars, you have a car simulator. Inside of the sphere, you have the interior, the car interior, or everything, the seats, the dashboard, the steering wheel, the shift the gear, so everything is there. And of course, you can change the car. So I want to try a Formula One experience. It's going to give you a different G-force experience from a Porsche Cup experience. So IndyCar simulator. So you can simulate different cars inside of the same car simulator. But let's say I want to provide my guests a flight simulator. It could be in the next day. You just remove the car interior, you set up the flight deck inside of the sphere, you change the software, and it's done. So overnight, you can change the experience. So that is very important for theme parks and entertainment centers to keep delivering different experience, so people that come back all over again can try different experiences.
So the sphere is like a standalone, but you order like the different type of experience you want by ordering like the parts. Okay.
Interesting. So
The
let's,
good thing about standalone, so let's say if you have several spheres inside of the same park, you can make all of them work together. So you can put like 2, 3, 4 drivers in the same race. They're racing against each other.
As long as they have the same parts in the spheres. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's super funny because people they just forget about winning the race and just want to crash into their friends.
I didn't know
So-
that, so you could have 3 or 4 of these machines in different parts of the park, and everyone could be on the same racetrack at once.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it'd be like virtual bumper car.
And you don't even need to be in the same physical location.
Like you
So-
could have a multi-continent bumper car.
Yeah, absolutely. You can put somebody from Belgium to fly together with someone in Brazil, in the US, like Chicago. You can connect as long as the units are connected to the internet, so you're good to go.
That sounds like a really fun project.
Absolutely.
Not for me, for somebody else. Let's talk a little bit about the cultural differences that you experienced. We want to know if there were any stumbling blocks that you encountered, or any special, I guess, perceptions that you needed to take into account as you grew into different continents and, different life experiences and different world views. So talk to us a little bit about that. It's not just the language, but it's more than that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Language definitely is something that we need to go through. Even though we have some experience in Portugal, we
Yeah.
speak Portuguese like we speak in Brazil, but it's completely different. You just can't say the same words in Portugal that you say in Brazil, or vice versa. So we need to deal with that for sure. The second thing is there are some requirements in terms of how this experience can work in one country, in a different country. So Europe, for example, is much more complex to get to go through the standards that require the standards to have the equipment working in Belgium, for example. So you need to work harder in order to have one unit working in Europe or any other where in the world. And the third thing is we had the opportunity to take one motorcycle simulators to Qatar. And so you know how difficult the women's life is in Qatar. So imagine a woman dressing like in their traditional clothes inside of
A chowder
that's a
with an abaya, so they're completely
inside
covered.
of a sphere on top of a motorcycle.
Okay.
So that sometimes we had to close all the doors to fully enclose the person inside of it and turn off the cameras so people on the outside couldn't see what was going on inside of the sphere, just in order for her to try the simulator. Otherwise, it was a man. There were cameras inside of the simulator that shows everything that's going on, and the TVs outside of the experience. So this is something that is that we have learned. So it's not about just the language, the laws, but also the culture. There are a lot of challenges in terms of that.
So the women were allowed to get in the sphere?
Yeah,
but
they were.
All the TVs, all the broadcasting
Had to be turned around.
turned off?
Because of the attire they had on? Like in that country?
Well, you're asking the wrong person.
Is it like because of the attire they had on? Okay.
Yes, absolutely, because they need to be on top of a motorcycle.
Yeah,
It's
they
not
have
something that maybe you can show your ankle and oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's gonna be crazy.
Oh, I see, so you have to lift up the skirt to see all the,
Yeah.
and it's, right, and your knee might show, so you can't, okay, got it. Wow.
Not even talk about knee, talk about ankle.
Don't talk about, oh, yeah, let alone the knee. That is interesting. Let's go back to labor a little bit. You just told us that you shrank the company from 40 people to 12 people because you decided to outsource.
Mhm.
But in the event that you do need to have someone on the ground on a particular continent, do you find it more productive to export from Brazil or to hire someone who's local?
Well, in fact, we do both.
Okay.
Most of the time, we send one or two people from our team for the events, and we hire a couple of people on site, local people. So it's very helpful because most of the time we need something which is a specific thing that we need. We don't know how to find it, we don't know how to do it, and how to do that in the local country. So it's very important for us to have people, to have local people and our people working together on those projects.
Okay, so there's specific stuff that they know how to navigate in their home country or their hometown that you wouldn't necessarily know.
Absolutely.
So you partner that with the company vision
Mm-hmm.
that you can control out of the home
Yeah,
office.
absolutely.
Okay, that makes a
Let's
lot of
give an
sense.
example. The motorcycle simulators that were developed for Ducati were developed in Italy. So have like 5 motion sphere employees living basically living over there for 5 months in order to get that done. Plus all the local company employees working together with them. So that's very important for us. And also, we're not supporting the companies that we have simulators working on right now with a person on site. Everybody that is taking care of regular maintenance as a local person that are working for the company, for our customers, and have the support of our team through Zoom calls, whatever.
Okay, fair. So as an international company, what was something that, let's put it this way, what is a mistake that you made that you can share with these folks so that maybe when they start their own company, they won't make the same mistake?
Well, I guess some of our mistakes, I would say that maybe you should be very careful about taking steps that you're not 100% because 100% is a lot, but if you're not convinced that you can deliver what you should be delivering on the time that they should be delivered, there is a big mistake that you can make. Sometimes we were very confident that we could deliver X products on by time, so most of the time they'll say, oh my gosh, it's not gonna work.
No.
It's not gonna make on time. Then you need to spend tons of money to cover that gap in terms of time or in terms of buying stuff to speed up the process. So we were able to deliver every single unit that was sold, but sometimes we didn't make profit out of that. because we're so much confident that we could do, and unfortunately, sometimes we even lost some money by being too much confident, I would say.
So if you're gonna offer a delivery date to somebody, offer a range. And say, we think it might be in this time
Absolutely.
frame, but never pin yourself down.
Mm-hmm.
And always build in that clause
Mm-hmm.
that says, like, don't penalize yourself until it's like 10 years into the
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. So under promise and over deliver.
That's it.
I think Disney invented that, by the way. They'll tell you that the wait line will be 75 minutes to get into Soarin' or something, and then you get in after 50 or 55 minutes, and you go, oh, Disney's great. But if you never wait, even though you waited in line for an hour. All right, that's really good advice.
It feels like it was shoot.
Right, exactly. You're pleasantly surprised that you saved 25 whole minutes. So,
You definitely need to learn to work on the expectations. So don't be too much confident that everything's gonna go to the right way. And there's not gonna have any doors on your way to get to the final step. So just think about that. Try to work on the expectations because at some point in time you need to take some detours. It's gonna take you longer to get there. It's gonna cost you more money, and try to anticipate that kind of thing.
what's some other really good advice that you can offer these young entrepreneurs that we have not discussed already?
Oh my gosh, we have been through so much concepts, so many ideas. I would say the first thing is let's take COVID as an example. We could just have the company shut down. That would be a great decision at that time if let's say mid 2020. Oh my God, this is not gonna work. We're never gonna go back to the exactly place where we were before COVID. And the thing is, we're not in the same place that we were before. We're in a different place, and it doesn't matter. You need to keep going. You need to believe in the product, in the market, and as long as you see the possibilities, don't stay stuck on the idea of something is never going to change. The world's going to change on a daily basis, hourly basis sometimes. I was checking the news before I come here, and everything looks like a little bit calm. And I just saw over here when I sit down, the Putin was the ICC, the International Criminal Court in Hague, just issued arrest warrant for Putin.
Whoa.
Oh my God, I think you don't know that, so just double check that information. Something is going on somewhere in the world that's gonna change the market that you're working on, the field of study that you're studying right now. So you need to be prepared for the changes, but it doesn't matter if you're gonna give up your ideas, your projects. Maybe you need to change a little bit.
So maybe
in
we
order
don't
to make it
expand to
work.
Moscow right now.
Absolutely.
Maybe we wait a couple of weeks. Okay.
Like a few weeks, a lot of weeks. You never know.
You have maintained a lot of ties with the academic world, not just with the person, one of your co-founders who developed
Mhm.
this technology in an academic atmosphere, but you're also very much in tune with the STEM careers and with other schools, not just Full Sail, around the United States.
Mhm.
So tell us more about how you see, not just for you, but how can these people benefit from an academic relationship as they expand their business?
Mm-hmm. Well, just to give an example, we're working with Mario Andretti. I don't know if you know Mario Andretti. He's a race driver. He's an iconic here in the US, IndyCar champion, Formula One champion. And his son, Jeff Andretti, is a former race driver. He retired, and he decided to take the everything that he learned from the race drive career into the academic work, back to academic work. So he decides he understood that the STEM concept is so important for the students. He decided to create a project which is called Andretti Fast Track, which wants to spread the STEM concepts throughout the public schools, especially middle schools and high schools. So he wants to tell people how important math is, science is, technology, engineering, arts as well, because not a STEM, but a STEAM right now, with A from arts. And how can we do that? Not by just putting a lot of teenagers in a classroom and tell about the importance of each thing. So he decided to do something different. How can we add an experimental solution to get people into the STEM and STEAM concept? So they created together with us the Andretti Fast Track, which is a ride along with Mario. We have footage of Mario Andretti racing on a circuit, and we brought inside of the motion sphere, and we create the G-force sensations, the audio, and the wind, and everything else. So they take the motion sphere into the schools. So they're going to be there for 2 or 3 days. But before talking about science, technology, engineering, math, and arts, they take the students inside of the motion sphere. Once they're back in the classroom, they start talking about, we used to talk about G-forces on science classes. So G-force is exactly what you felt inside of the motion sphere. The force pushing you forward, backward, from one side to another, that's G-force. It's much more, it's very easier to connect the kids with the concept when they feel exactly what they're talking about. So science, technology, so we're talking about everything about computers, etc. So motion sphere is exactly what we can do when you learn technology. Once you learn that, you can create a company or equipment that can deliver this kind of sensations to people all around the world. So engineering, the same thing. So you can feel the G-forces. How can you create that G-force? By the combination of the movements of the 2 spheres that can generate the correct G-forces. So math, you have an algorithm that calculates how much you need to roll each one of the spheres in order to generate the G-force that the game is telling you that the people should be feeling. So in art, of course, everything that you're seeing, the 3D world around you, the sound, the smell sometimes, so everything connected. So that's a STEAM. So what can you do by studying this kind of fields of study? So this is something that's very important. The technology, the entertainment, the arts, everything that you're studying right now, most of the time you're looking just through one point of view, but this is much more wider than you can imagine. So everything that you're learning today could be very useful for companies in some different markets you have never thought about. Just try to spread your field of view in order to see where your knowledge could be worked.
Very good. So motion.ms is your website.
Motion.ms.
All right, excellent. So if you want to watch a video of someone experiencing the motion sphere at a volume that you can control, please go to motion.ms and you're free to explore the website in detail, and you can even email Beto or one of his partners if you have a question. So with that, we'll officially wrap and say thank you so much for being here today. Let's give Beto a clap of applause.
Pleasure.
we will stick around if you have any further questions. You're welcome to stick around with us. Thank you. We hope you have a wonderful day. Oh, and happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, absolutely.